just a heads up, this week's video is way more of a journal entry. Every once in a while I do this. It's just a time of life that I really want to capture. I really want to remember this feeling and this moment. I've gotten to be a part of creating some of the most amazing things this year. Things that I genuinely can't comprehend, can't wrap my head around. One of which is having a baby. Having this perfect, beautiful little baby in my life has absolutely, oh my goodness, it's just the coolest thing ever. And if you knew me a couple years ago, you wouldn't know that I'd be saying that. I was terrified of having a kid. Anyways, that's been incredible. Another thing, this studio back here, what the heck? How in the world have I been able to make this in my backyard? It's just crazy. That is the coolest building ever, and I somehow got to have that. I've also grew a YouTube channel to be monetized. That didn't exist last year, and now it does. Well, the YouTube channel did, but the monetization didn't. That has been just a product of this year, and I'm so proud and thankful that's happened. Oh, and another thing is maybe the most shocking of all is that on top of those things, the clients that I've been able to work with, I couldn't even have dreamed of working with 4 years ago. I would have literally keeled over and died if you told me that I was working with some of the most popular and sought after brands in the entire world. So when I list everything out like that, I just feel incredibly thankful, but also slightly confused because I've never in my life been closer to a panic attack. Genuinely, I just, every couple of days, it's just the most insane amount of pressure. My heart's racing, and yeah. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk through this. I very purposely set the camera up right here because right behind me, I'm gonna bend forward, but check out this area right here behind me. Hopefully the focus changed, but as you can see, we still haven't finished the landscaping. And I don't know, that's not my personality. It's not, I typically am very good at getting things done and feeling really good about the things that I commit to. But this year, I don't know if it's been this concept of spreading myself too thin or what, but it's almost like everything just feels like chaos. And I can't quite get my grips on all these different components, and it almost feels like I'm lacking just a little bit in every area. Like 95% of the scene behind me is amazing. The studio is working great. It was built very nicely. The other parts of the landscaping is great, but there's this one little piece that's not quite great. And that's just a great analogy for the rest of my life right now. The fact that life feels chaotic right now both makes perfect sense and is still a little bit confusing to me. The reason it makes sense is because you always hear that saying, like, more money, more problems, more success, more problems. I think that just rings true in a lot of ways, always. Anytime you have more success, there's more pressure that comes with it and blah, blah, blah. But the reason that I am a little bit surprised is because I've gotten so good at saying no over the past 4 to 5 years. It's been something I've really focused on because I've quickly figured out that saying no can actually lead you to better things in the future. I was actually thinking, bear with me here if you're actually watching this, I do have a very cheesy analogy that I think perfectly demonstrates what's happening in my life right now. Okay, imagine that I am a bear and I'm on the hunt for some honey. There's nothing in the world that I want more than this honey. It equals success, right? So I go on this quest. I don't even know if bears eat honey all that often, to be honest, but for the sake of this analogy, I'm Winnie the Pooh. And I'm going through the woods and I see some berries. And although these berries would technically fill my stomach and give me some form of satisfaction, they don't help me get closer to the honey. And in fact, sometimes they can create some contentment. Like maybe after I eat a few strawberries or berries or blackberries, I might trick myself into thinking that I'm actually didn't crave honey at all. I'm full. And I think that this is a big problem in freelance, just to connect it back really quick. We often take these projects that are going to pay the bills, but they don't ever connect us closer to our end goals. They just give us like this little stint of stability. And then sometimes that stability, though, can be very addicting, and we start taking on another one. And then we find ourselves in this field of berries, this field of projects that we're having success from, but it was not our end goal. It was not the thing we set out to achieve. Well, now I've gotten pretty good at ignoring these berries. Okay? Like, I've realized that these berries can be a sidetrack, can be a rabbit trail that I don't want to go down. And ultimately, if I can ignore these berries, I'm going to have a stronger appetite for the honey once I get there. So here's the crazy thing, and this, I just can't believe that I'm saying this, but this year I have reached that honey. This year I have worked for the clients that I would say are at the top. Like, the things that I've set out to do, I'm here. But there's a massive problem. And that problem is that it's like I'm almost scared that it's going to go away. And I'm now overindulging. My email is popping off with inquiries coming through. And I just, for whatever reason, I don't know how to say no to this. It's a different thing. It's like, it's all honey. I want to eat all of it. What if it goes away and I don't have any more honey? And this is just, that's why I wanted to make this video. I'm just at this new spot. That it's like a very good problem, and a problem I'm so proud to have, but at the same time, it's genuinely wrecking me. I'm sick from all of this honey. This year has been so good, and I've had so many great projects come through that I don't technically need to work anymore this year. And I want to clarify, that doesn't mean that I've made tons of money. I've told you this before, but we have pretty low overhead. Like, our mortgage is paid for by our Airbnb and so on and so forth. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm like racking up. I just could live comfortably off of this year's income already. But for whatever reason, when these inquiries come through, I still can't say no to them. There's another component to all of this that I haven't told you yet. And that is that I'm only working 2 days a week right now. And the other 3 days, I'm full-time dad. And this is just one of the best perks of finding some success in freelance. I've gotten to spend more time with my daughter than I would have in almost any other career. But there's this thing that I'm also doing, which is like packing things in around her nap times. And as soon as my wife gets home, I'm like, I gotta go up and reply to all these emails. And I end up making those 3 days so stressful because I'm still trying to keep things afloat, even though I'm just wanting to be full-time dad with her. I'm just not doing a good job of saying no. I think that's what it comes back to. I just don't know how to say no yet to these amazing things. I talked to Anna Laura about this this last week because it just got so intense, and my heart started pounding out of my chest, and I started getting this feeling of disappointing people. Like, I wasn't being a great client, I wasn't being a great dad, I wasn't being a great husband. All these things, when you have just an overflowing cup, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know, it just hit like, I don't think I've ever had a true panic attack, but I definitely felt the beat going crazy. And she was basically telling me that I have too many pillars in life right now. Like, I have too many things that I'm just so fully devoted to. One of which is being the dad. And that one is just, I want that one to be so strong, rock solid, and be the main thing, right? But then also I have this client thing, which I really care about. I've been building that for a long time. And then I have YouTube, which I have this insane vision for. Hopefully, I don't know, I haven't had time to like truly do it yet, but I have some very, very cool visions for what YouTube can be. And I think ultimately YouTube would allow me to live a lifestyle that is more conducive to being the kind of dad I want to be. So anyway, she was saying that I have all these pillars and I probably need to just temporarily remove one. I just need to get some freedom in my brain to really focus on something and do it really well. And you might think I'm coming at this with some sort of solution, but I don't have one yet. I'm still kind of feeling it out, trying to figure out which thing to remove, which thing to put as a priority outside of being a dad. And yeah, another thing to mention is that I just have some incredible help right now. I have my wife, who's just almost acting as a secretary, to be honest. She's been kind of helping me go through these emails and being like, prioritize this one. Don't worry about replying to them. Okay, send this message to this person. And I'm just like, wow, thank you for organizing my thoughts, because all these people are back to back emailing me, and I don't know, I get a little, I just hate disappointing people. So that's been amazing. My family's also been helping and giving me time to like go hang out with them and kind of get out of this thinking for a while. Have some friends that have been checking in. And then also want to give a shout out to a bunch of people that I've met on YouTube. One of which is Abdul. I'm just very excited to have people like him that have come in to help me take on some of these projects, and genuinely met him through YouTube. And I've had some other people this year that I've worked with because of YouTube. Shout out to Rax, Chris, Jeremy. It's just wild. I freaking love YouTube. Anyways, I'm going in circles now. I don't have answers. I'm just in the middle of solving this. I'm in the middle of a new phase of life as a dad and as a successful business owner. I've been a business owner for a long time. I've never been a successful business owner. And it's very cool, but it also comes with just an extra layer of pressure. So thank you guys for chiming in and watching this. Feel free to give me some advice if you've been in this spot before, or just let me know if you can relate with it. That's also sometimes even more helpful, just to know that there are some other people that have had that sort of thing or a similar thing. So thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing week. I'll see you next Tuesday.